Hey guys, so today I'll be analyzing my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie scenes. So I'll be starting off with a scene from Pulp Fiction. So here we got Jules and Vincent, who are two hitmen who walk into an apartment trying to get a briefcase for their boss, Marcellus Wallace. And this is obviously some great acting by Samuel L. Jackson, especially. He's known for this scene, and some great directing and writing. So let's listen to some of the scene.
Remember your business partner, Marcellus Wallace, don't you, Brett?
Yeah, I remember.
Good. Looks like me and Vincent caught you boys at breakfast. Sorry about that. What you having?
Hamburgers.
Hamburgers! The cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
Because of the metric system?
Check out the big brain on bread!
So that's obviously some great acting, but now we can get to the good stuff. So here we start off with smooth talking by Samuel L. Jackson, but things start to get dirty very quickly. So Samuel L. Jackson begins to recite a famous Bible verse.
Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger.
And we all know what happens next to these poor men. But what happens next, and what does this quote all mean? So Jules and Vincent are having breakfast in the diner, way later on in the movie, when a couple of robbers are robbing the diner. But Jules begins to talk to the robber, and usually Jules would have blasted away these couple of crazy people, but in this diner scene he repeats his version of Ezekiel 25:17 and speculates, is he the righteous man? Is he the shepherd? Or perhaps the tyranny of evil? Jules is trying to be the righteous man, but he can't in his line of work. So the line shepherds the weak out of the valley of darkness, again, I think refers to Jules and his prediction of when he diffuses the situation here with Honey Bunny and Pumpkin, the robbers at the diner, and he allows these crazy couple to escape peacefully. And what causes this decision by Jules? Well, it's divine intervention. Jules believes that the fact that he and Vincent are alive is nothing short of a miracle. And we see that Vincent does not believe this, and we see what happens to him. So now we go back to the Scripting Inquisition. So what transpires in the divine intervention scene has spiritual impact, leading Jules to a kind of conversion experience, and this scene is a defining moment in the lives of the two henchmen. One of them survives and one of them doesn't, and Jules is the one that survives, and he's the one that saves this couple at the end. So the next scene is from Django Unchained, which is the dinner scene later on in the film at Candyland. Dr. Schultz and Django are having dinner with Monsieur Candy, Leonardo DiCaprio, and they are putting on a facade saying that they want to buy a slave from Calvin Candy. But we all know their intention is to see Broomhilda. So Schultz is looking for an African-American with a sense of showmanship. They call him the Black Hercules, which is ironic because we get the feeling that Hercules would be Django because he's the hero in the story. And just as Hercules slays the Hydra and Siegfried slays the dragon on the mountaintop from that story earlier on, Django too must overcome his obstacles to save Broomhilda. And now let's look at Calvin Candy, who is played amazingly by Leonardo DiCaprio as a cold-hearted slave owner. So once he gets an idea about their plan, he gives a presentation about phrenology, which is yet another way in which he tries to veil his ignorance and knowledge and superiority. Another thing about Candy is that there's a continuous motif of sweets. I mean, his name is Candy, but this is easily seen during the dinner scene, signifying the moral rot within Candy. And when Stefan, the head slave, which is played by Samuel L. Jackson, finds out about Django's intentions, he goes to Candy, asking him to meet in the kitchen to discuss dessert, which is sweets. And finally, in that climactic scene at dinner, Candy invites the men for white cake, which might have its connotation to Marie Antoinette with her let them eat cake phrase. But this is overall just a gripping and great scene. The next scene I'll be analyzing is the opening scene from Inglourious Basterds. It takes place in Nazi-occupied France, and we see Monsieur Le Petit, French dairy farmer cutting some wood, which it shows a domestic duty of his, and it shows off his masculine strength. Tarintino picked him chopping wood, not milking cows for a reason. Then it cuts to his wife laying out the laundry, which is another domestic duty. The cloth then serves as a curtain as we see the Nazis coming up the road, which are them intruding on their domestic lives and duties. As Hans Landa, who is played by Christoph Waltz, walks in to the house, you can see everyone is on their toes and very nervous, and you can totally see that Landa notices this. Then we see Hans Landa ask for milk, which is a symbolism of purity, and he's trying to look like a good guy who's just here to follow up on some bureaucratic duties. He's not the bad guy. He's just here asking some questions, which makes him seem like a very innocent man, and he's trying to keep the situation calm. So we see Le Petit and Landa talking, but Tarantino uses a whole shift in the camera angle, and this has a very significant meaning. So before the camera flips, Landa is asking Le Petit about a Jewish family in the area that has disappeared. So he's asking if he knows anything. At the moment, nothing is weird, but as the camera flips, and once that happens, Landa seems to be on the offensive. He asks for more milk and barely drinks it because he isn't playing the role of a pure and good man anymore as he was with his family. Rather, he pulls out his huge pipe, which shows that he's in control of the situation and conversation. And when this camera flips, we see the dark side of Landa as he starts to interrogate Le Petit. And if we go back to when, before the camera flips, we see Le Petit pull out a much smaller pipe when he feels that he was in control of the situation. Then, for the first time in this scene, we see a close-up on both, when Landa is asking Le Petit if he is housing Jews, and we see the utter horror in Le Petit's face, and the smirk and just creepiness by Landa. Tarantino zooms in on both, once again to lure in the audience. Then, he calls the other Nazi soldiers to take care of the Jews that are hiding under the house, but one gets away. And then Landa screams, "Au revoir, Shoshana." But how did he know her name? Maybe it's because Le Petit told him the ages and names of this particular Jewish family. But what I find interesting is that Le Petit knew the ages and names of this family, as he states earlier on in the scene. And he also states that, according to rumors, they fled to Spain. So if he knew the ages and the names of this family, then how could he just know a rumor? He probably knew this family very well. And I think this is where Landa knows Le Petit is hiding something. And this is where the camera flips in his control. And here we see Hans Landa, who is played perfectly, just engulf the fear in the audience. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the scenes that I analyzed. If you have other recommendations on scenes or other movies I should analyze, put them in the comments below.
Does he look
Thank
like
you.
a bitch?